In today's video, I want to share with you why retiring at 65 might be a much bigger mistake than you think it is. And to show you why I think this, I'm going to share with you a client's financial plan where everything looks great on the surface, retiring at 65, until we start to peel the covers back and the layers back to see the real risks that actually apply here. So let's jump into Scott and Brooke's plan. I'm going to use them as an example to share with you that while things might look great on the surface, there's often some hidden risks, some things that we're not even aware of when it comes to retiring at 65. Scott and Brooke are both 60 years old today, and as you can see, they have just under $2 million, and that's the money that they're going to use to fund their retirement one day. When it comes to that retirement, we walk through a process to see what do we want retirement to look like? What's the timing of when we want this to happen? And 65 was when they wanted to retire, and here's the goals of what they wanted to be able to do. Spend $6,000 per month on basic core expenses. Have some extra money set aside in addition to the Medicare premiums to fund healthcare costs throughout retirement. Have an additional amount to travel with themselves, with family, with friends. Everything looked good. We're going through this. Everything seemed to be there. They had strong Social Security benefits, as you can see here. Scott's benefit was over $3,000 per month. Brooke's benefit was also over $3,000 per month. When we fast forward and say, well, what does their overall projection look like? You can see that here they are today at 60. They retire at 65, and their portfolio balance continues to grow throughout retirement. When we look at their probability of success, a very high level of success, a very high probability of success. So everything looks good on the surface. So what was the risk here? The risk here is viewing life expectancy in the wrong context. So what do I mean by that? Well, at age 65, meaning if you've made it until age 65, men have a life expectancy of 17 and a half more years. Women, if they've made it to age 65, have a life expectancy of a little bit more than 20 years. So yes, that's not quite as long as what we're projecting here. Here we're projecting retiring at 65 and living until the age of 90, but it's not too far off. So what's the real risk? Well, the real risk is when we think only of life expectancy and we don't factor in or we don't think about healthy life expectancy. I want you to take a look at this chart here. This chart shows you healthy life expectancy by country, and I want you to see where the US falls on this. So what is this looking at here? Well, this isn't just looking at life expectancy, because who cares if you live to 100, but you're chronically ill for the last 35 of those years? You're not able to golf and travel and spend time with friends and family like we're planning to in these projections that we look at. So healthy life expectancy says how many of those years of our life expectancy do we have our health? And here's the top 10 countries. Japan is at the top. After Japan, we have Singapore, then Korea, then Switzerland, Cyprus, Israel, Spain, France, Iceland, and Italy. These are the top 10, and the US isn't showing up yet. And just for perspective, the 10th healthiest country here of Italy, healthy life expectancy until about age 72. Japan at the top, healthy life expectancy until about the age of 74. When you go to the USA here, our healthy life expectancy is only 66.1. So all the incredible, wonderful things about the United States, we don't tend to have the healthiest life expectancy. Now, the good news about this is we don't have to fit into this. We don't have to be part of this study, part of this demographic information. We can make choices that help us to improve our healthy life expectancy. But to relate this back to the reason we do financial planning, the reason that Scott and Brooke went through this financial planning process is because they have a lot of wonderful dreams of things they want to do during these years. This isn't just a graph that's moving upwards and to the right. This is a graph that's designed to say, do you have the portfolio to support your lifestyle? And that lifestyle isn't sitting on the couch because you're too unhealthy to do anything. That lifestyle is travel. That lifestyle is being active with children and grandchildren. That lifestyle is golfing. That lifestyle is doing things that excite you, pursuing that adventure. But if we don't have our health, none of this really matters. If we don't have our health, it doesn't matter that Scott and Brooke budgeted $30,000 per year for travel. They're not going to be able to take those trips and explore the way they were intending to explore. This reminds me of a quote by Confucius, where he says, a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, a sick person, but one. All of this is possible. All of this adventure and the great things Scott and Brooke want to do is very possible until they lose their health, until you lose your health. So what can we do? What can we take from this? What we can take from this is perspective, that it does not matter what your financial projections look like if we don't have the health, if we're not of sound mind and body to be able to pursue those things. This is what most traditional planning gets wrong. Most traditional planning just looks at the projections, just looks at your probability of success and says, wow, you look like you're on great track, until we realize that these projections looking the way they do have no direct correlation to what life will actually look like until we take it upon ourselves to actually make sure if that's going to be the case. So what can you do with all this? Well, number one, and most obviously, take care of your health. In my opinion, here's one of the most unappreciated things about health, and I'm actually going to relate it to retirement planning. We're all familiar with retirement planning. If we're going to save money for retirement, that's one less dollar that we could spend today. I'm either going to enjoy this dollar today or I'm going to enjoy it in the future. Well, with health, if I make the decision to work out, it's not saying I'm not going to enjoy today because I'm going to enjoy the future. I'm going to enjoy today more and I'm going to enjoy the future more. I'm going to get physical benefits from exercising today. I'm going to get mental benefits from exercising today. I'm going to feel better. Life is going to go better. And I'm going to get those same physical and mental benefits for the future. Unlike retirement contributions, where if I have a dollar, I can choose to either spend it today and enjoy it today, or spend it tomorrow and enjoy it tomorrow, exercise and health is the exact opposite. What you do today helps today and it helps you tomorrow. So exercise not only increases our lifespan, but more importantly in the context of what we're talking about today, it increases our health span. It allows you to actually take those trips you wanted to take. It actually allows you to enjoy the things that you wanted to do because you have your health and the ability to do that. And this is where I say we don't have to just fit in to what that data point, to what that study showed. Other studies show that 77% of Americans do not engage in regular exercise. That's the bad news. The good news is you don't have to be one of those 77%. If you want to do something good for your retirement plan, take care of your body, exercise, do the things today that will pay off today and will pay off in the future. This will make you stronger. This will give you better cardiovascular health. This will give you better mental benefits. You will enjoy life more if you do this, and it has great long-term implications as well. The second thing that you can start doing is you can start doing what you love now. I'm going to go back to Scott and Brooke's plan. Scott and Brooke are 60 today. They're planning to retire at 65. They're planning to do all these wonderful things. But here's the issue. They're not promised their 80s. They're not promised their 70s. They're not even promised their 60s. I'm sure all of you know people or know stories about people who saved their whole life ready to enjoy retirement, and then they passed away either right before retiring or right after retiring. So none of that is promised. So yes, we need a plan for retirement, and we should have great big visions for what we want our retirements to look like, but how can we start enjoying today as well? Now, in the same way that prioritizing health not only had benefits today, but it also had benefits for the future, so too does doing what you love today. I say this because I know so many people who retire and then they don't really know what they want to do. They never really practiced retirement. They thought maybe they'd travel, maybe they thought they'd play pickleball, but that was just because they saw other people doing it. They never actually started to get reps in of practicing what they wanted to do, so they got to their retirement years and they kind of fell flat. They didn't really know what to do. They got stuck in a rut, not knowing what retirement really had in store for them. So by doing the things you want to do today, by not putting everything off until retirement, one, it has the benefit of we're not promised tomorrow. So this might be the only time we have to be able to do these things. Let's act as if that's the case. But number two, by starting to pursue the things we love doing, we're practicing retirement. We're starting to get a sense for what we do like and what we don't like so that when we do retire, we can hit the ground running and immediately start doing what we want to do most of. A scary part of retirement can be the freedom it offers. We don't have work to occupy 40, 50 plus hours of our week anymore. We can do whatever we want. That can actually be very scary for many people who have spent years and decades having much of their life controlled for them. So start doing the things you want to do. Do you think it's pickleball? Start playing today. Do you think it's travel? Start taking trips today. Do you think that it's volunteering? Start volunteering today. It's going to help you today and it's going to help you in the future. And then finally, the third thing that you can do is create a plan. Sometimes people do work until 65 or 67 or 70 even because they need to in order to be able to retire. Other times, people work until those ages because they've never put a plan in place. They've never gone through the process of actually putting a plan in place to see when they could retire. And instead of doing that, which can be scary, it can be intimidating, you maybe don't know where to start, but if you never do that, you just keep working and working and working. And as we illustrated before, you might finally get to retirement age at 67 or 70 and realize that you missed out on your healthiest years. The saddest thing is many of the people that actually did that could have retired far sooner. It wasn't a lack of resources that held them back, it was the lack of a plan. So put a plan in place, run the projections, do what Scott and Brooke did here. Because as you can look at this, if we go back to their plan, maybe they realize, you know what, that's us. We haven't prioritized our health. We do need to get on it. We can start to see, is 65 the right age? Or what if we took a couple years off that? Can we do this not at 65, but what about 63? Does that allow us to do the same things that we want to do? And yes, maybe there's less money that they have in these cases, but they still have a high probability of success. So run projections, see what's possible, run different outcomes so that when you are retiring, you're prioritizing both what you need to do to be on track for your future goals, but also not neglecting today. Also not putting yourself at a disadvantage today such that the healthiest years of your life might pass you by. Now, by the way, if that's what you want to do, if you're trying to run a plan for your future, talk to a financial advisor. If you don't want to talk to a financial advisor, run projections on your own. If you want access to the same software that we're looking at here, you can actually get it in the Retirement Planning Academy. Link is in the show notes below. We'll walk you through what should you be doing as you think about your retirement so that you can put a plan in place to both enjoy the future you've always envisioned, but also make sure that you're starting to enjoy life today. Root Financial has not provided any compensation for and does not influence the content of any testimonials and endorsements shown. Any testimonials and endorsements shown have been shared with each individual's permission, and are not necessarily representative of the experience of other clients. To our knowledge, no other conflicts of interest exist regarding these testimonials and endorsements. Once again, I'm James Knoll, founder of Root Financial, and if you're interested in seeing how we help our clients at Root Financial get the most out of life with their money, be sure to visit us at www.rootfinancialpartners.com.